There was a time in my life when I had given up some very very hard things to have taken from me had been taken from me. Broken hearted, dreams stolen, unrealistic amount of obstacles that appeared to sabotage what I was working so hard for, what I cared so much about. And in that brokenheartedness, I was so close to crossing the line. I was so close to this body just shutting down and leaving. But angels intervened in my life through a million synchronicities and then literal communication and out-of-body experiences. And one of the important themes, perhaps the most important that they managed to make me aware of through that stage in my life, was that humanity has this issue they're unaware of. Most are unaware of. Precious few are aware of this. And that is that humans lose track of their heart center, which is what should lead us. If we were to be a flourishing, life abundant type of species, it would be our heart center leading us instead of our minds. And they showed me that everyone's trapped in their mind. And that's not what should be leading. You're taught in this world that your mind, your brain, this, that, your intelligence, but you're trained to be like a machine. People are focusing on the wrong thing. They don't understand where wisdom and true guidance can come from. When you're a child, they showed me, you come into this world, you're already much closer to the nature of the Creator, the essence of God, of Source, if you will. And then usually well-meaning adults or older peers or humans start conditioning you for this world. And they mean well, usually. Not always, but usually. But being that they're out of touch with their own heart center, and this happens at a very young age where people are unaware, they don't realize that what they're really doing is leading you away from your heart and teaching you to be stuck in mind, like humanity is. The nefarious forces on this planet have long understood that if people are trapped in their mind, they're easily programmable and controllable. Because if you have the funding and influence to control the narratives people grow up with, now you have their mind. So you don't have to physically enslave people with chains. If all of humanity is trained to live in their mind, you just control the narratives that program their mind. And then you have them where you want them. What kind of a affluent, utopian society or species would we be if we understood that when you greet a child into this world, we should be nurturing whatever's in their heart because it's a unique, authentic expression from the Creator. And we should add to them the skills, the practical skills that we know. Trade skills, communication skills, basic education skills, so that they'd be more enabled to do, to manifest things that come from their inner vision and their heart and their dream. Because it's lost so early on. Think about this, some of the greatest qualities of a child. Complete trust and innocence of heart. And look what happens in this world. Those greatest qualities actually work against us here because everything's so far out of alignment and upside down compared to the truth. Because we're trusting, completely trusting and innocent of heart, we don't filter anything. We pick up whatever the influences are around us. So in this world, before you're old enough to even think this through, oftentimes before you're old enough to really speak and even think in words, you've been conditioned away from your own heart center in a variety of ways. So you never realize this even happened. And yet you carry the marks of the trauma and the confusion for the rest of your life. People go through all these things trying to change their mind, program their mind, try to figure out what's best to put in their mind. And you can see the evidence that in an age of information overload, it's not doing anyone any good. There's not enough things to put in your mind or correct things to put in your mind to solve this problem because mind is not the answer. Heart center is the answer. There are people with gifted minds. There are people with incredible intellectual gifts, but look at the planet. Look at how these gifts are often used. Usually, They result in technology or advancements in abilities that just get used for weapons. The species uses it against itself. This is because the heart center isn't leading. The mind is more like a machine. It's more of a male energy, and it's more militant in nature. It wants to achieve, it wants to conquer, it wants to do. The problem is, without the heart center leading, there's no real humanity. There's no real awareness of the connectedness of all living things. There's a complete lack of empathy, sympathy, compassion. So the greatest of all of us ever, the first human to ever show fully the nature of God, Yeshua ben Yosef, he says, in order to attain salvation, you must become like one of these children, which of course confuses the religious leaders and the men he's talking to, because like all men and adult humans, they're caught up in their mind and in their ego. And they think, well, we've kept the scrolls, we read them every day, we have all this stuff memorized, we're the closest to God, we're the most godly. Without spelling it out for him, he alludes to the fact that they couldn't be further from the truth. It's the little children, the infants that no one listens to, who are the closest to God. Some of the more gifted awarenesses in our modern world are aware of the fact that the inner child of human beings needs to be restored and healed for your life to become whole. Now, these are not different things. These are not separate things. And I would submit to you, due to what experience I have with this so far, and I've by no means completely healed this or fixed it, but I have made some progress with a lot of prayer, meditation, and divine guidance and help. I would submit to you that I find it to be completely impossible for an adult human becoming aware of these things in this world to restore their own inner child without divine intervention and help. I am unaware of any process that actually makes it happen just because you try. The only thing that's helped me is asking repeatedly, help me. Help me open my heart center. Help me with the energy work. Do it to me. When you're dealing with angelic beings, you have to ask for help because they never intervene against your free will. They never meddle with your life. But they're happy to help and they're ready to help. So when you ask for something that's in alignment with the Creator's ultimate will for you, which is much better than you do get help. The limiting factor will be yourself, your ability to perceive it. But you will notice if and when your heart center starts to open more. It's like a bunch of colors. And I'm using colors here as a parable for feelings. Lucidity of feeling. The colors of life itself start coming back to you. It's as if you've been living in a black and white gray sort of a reality and you didn't know it. Everything becomes much more rich and alive. And in my case, I started to spontaneously remember how I had felt as a very small child. Probably before I was speaking much, although I was pretty affluent with words by age 2, so I'm not sure about that. But I remember these amazing feelings of what it's like to be truly young and unconditioned like a child. The heart of a child. All things are possible. Life is a wonder. Life is a miracle, and you're just swimming and breathing and feeling the miraculousness and the joy and the excitement of life. That's how we arrived. Most people probably go through their life without ever remembering that or even catching a glimpse of it, unfortunately. So we forget. We move away from these things at a young age, and it seems that once your heart center is more closed, you don't remember those feelings. You don't even remember what they felt like. You don't even know what you're missing. It's important for me to say that this is not about whether you're a good person or not. I'm not saying that everyone has a closed heart and therefore everybody's a bad person. That's not what I'm saying at all. There are people that still manage to do good, to do more good than harm to this creation, even without their heart center being open. They manage to discipline their mind. They manage to make positive choices through their own reasoning, through their own wisdom. But the richness of life is largely missing from all of us. This is what I was shown. After having gone through the greatest emotional pain in my life, I was also shown these rich, incredible secrets that humanity just doesn't know. I think it's because I had one foot in this world and one foot in the next. I was teetering on the veil. I've been there before. I've had an NDE when I was 2 years old. I've had a lot of out-of-body experiences at different times. But in this stage, they repeatedly kept teaching me and sharing the same lesson with me. Humanity doesn't realize that their heart center is what's supposed to lead them, and they're out of touch with it. It's like a divorce that happened a long time ago where humanity's mind divorced from its heart. We've been living in a world dominated by mind without heart, which is male energy without female energy to balance it, to make it harmonious and beneficial. So it's a dog eat dog world, as they say. It's me versus you. It's how do I get the upper hand over my fellow human beings instead of how do we all lift each other up to higher heights together. You weren't like this as a child. Children have no racism. Children have no classism. Children have no fear of a wicked, scary God. Children have no negativity or ill will towards themselves or others. It's the first time you feel pain or disappointment or someone shutting you down or rejecting who you really are. If I was to put the message into words that we all received as children, if I was to translate it to words in English, it would be something like, you're bad and you're wrong, and you need to learn to be like us. You need to grow up. You need to get with it. You need to become like this. Depending on what corner of the world you were in and which iteration of variations of society, there are some slightly different particulars, but the message is basically the same worldwide. Put away the child because the child's useless and grow up and become one of us. Learn how to serve the system, get useful and serve the beast, and scrape and scramble and scratch to get ahead and survive, and do what we call business, which is just code words for taking advantage of other people. It's the loss of the inner child. So when you come to an adult man or woman that has religious beliefs or philosophy of life beliefs, they're often quite stubborn and calcified. And they don't realize there's no richness in what you're believing, and you're blocked and you're stuck. It's like a tomb, and they can't even see it. Because the human mind is like that anyway. It's like a computer. And no matter how much data your particular computer can hold, it's not really a living thing. This is why mankind has gotten to the point where they're so confused, they think if they put all their recorded information into a system of AI and make some kind of thing that looks like a person, it can recite all sorts of information that humans have recorded into it. Is it alive? People are actually confused about this. Of course it's not alive. This is a problem because this shows that you're unaware if you're even alive. This is why it's confusing to you that you think data in a brain that looks human enough might be a living thing. Of course it's not a living thing. To whatever degree you're in touch with whatever's left of the openness of your heart chakra, you know this. You know that no amount of communication or data or knowledge makes anything alive. It's just a machine, but it's a parable. Humanity gives itself a lot of subconscious symbolic parables for the situation it's in. The AI is a perfect one. Having been trapped in mind for so long, the humans don't know the difference between data and technology and actual authentic organic existence in life and consciousness. And what you are is a consciousness. The heart center is where the true consciousness comes from. It's where your connection to source. It's where the higher possibilities of your life live. But it's extinguished at a young age because we're in a very ignorant world where very unsustainable, unhealthy things have been perpetuated as the right way to go for a very long time. The cost has been catastrophic. The planet is dying because of it. No group of humans led by heart would kill the planet they live on. They would recognize it as their source of life in themselves, and they would caretake it like we were designed to do instead of consuming and fighting over who can burn it up and steal it all and blow it up and make it into pavement and parking lots and machines the quickest. All the movies about zombies, what are humans focused on? Brains, brains. If I just had more brains, if I only had a brain, that would solve my problems. And you have philosophies all around the world that teach this, but it's false. Granted, many humans could use better brain function, but if they were guided by heart, they never would have fallen into the many pit traps that have caused them to diminish their brain function by going along with agendas to destroy the human genome to begin with. Humans are stuck in a state where they have to blindly believe in external authorities about what life is and what it's for and what you should do with it. They even worship these things and call physical things God because they can't tell the difference between living conscious energy and writing on paper or statues. It's not so much that idolatry is usually some willful rebellion against the truth. It's the spiritual ignorance of human beings. And it's everywhere to this day. All these things and so much more would be cured by humanity having an open heart center that led the way. All of us contain male and female energy, but humanity as a whole is completely dominated by male energy. Males and females alike are trained and conditioned to live in mind. Mind only. This is why your dysfunctional emotions that you don't know what to do with, even though they're living energies that are part of you that exist for a reason, just like your inner child, they're basically subjugated to some prison or some taboo system where they're supposed to be kept out of the way. And you're supposed to live like a productive android that just makes things work, beep, boop, efficiently, and does your little job and then dies and gets out of the way. Harvested and used. Humans are not machines. How unnatural is it to take children and make them sit still for 8 hours a day and learn boring things that'll make them better productive slaves when they grow up? And if any of them have too fast of a mind and too much physical energy and they're too bored and creative with it, we drug them with drugs that destroy their endocrine system and make them drool on themselves. And again, what is the message we're reinforcing? You're wrong and you're bad. All we teach our children as a species, and there are exceptions among us, but for the most part, as a whole, all we teach our children is everything about you that makes you a child is wrong. You're going to have to get rid of it and become like us. And we wonder why the world is a dark, miserable, ignorant, struggling, unfulfilling place. It's not some evil false god doing it to us unless you want to use your own ego, humanity, and your own spiritual ignorance and call it a false god, because for many it is. But you always have the choice. You always have the choice to look deeper and to seek authenticity. But it's uncomfortable. Another thing about opening your heart center is that you will have to experience your emotions more strongly. Sadness will hit you harder, just like joy will hit you harder. All the colors will be added to the spectrum, but a brave, strong, open heart not only can handle these things, it prefers to fully feel the truth in things instead of being dull and dead. You're just left to be programmed with different ideas in your mind. Most of you spend way too much time listening to different men and women talking about their ideas, about their little idea clan that they want you to join and be part of. And this is the best humanity can think to do right now to solve its problems, and it's solving nothing. It's further dividing humans than they already are. Because without the heart center open, there's no understanding of unity, oneness. There's no understanding of how simple it is that we would all thrive if we were in it for each other. Love God with all your heart, love the neighbor as self. If people did this, we'd all live in a divine utopia. It'd be beyond your wildest imagining. Even the animals and the plants would all be different on this planet and better. It's because of our spiritual condition that things suffer and are dark and nasty. The spiritual ignorance of living in mind is paramount and incredible. What is the solution most people think of? They look around and say, those guys are causing the problem. The only way to stop them is to kill them. So now you're a killer and a bully, and somebody else sees you the same way. And then they do that to you, and somebody else sees them as a killer and a bully and does that to them. And this domino effect of nonstop violence and trying to kill our way out of a problem of lack of heart. Where is this going? Where has it gone? Where will it go? Those that run the world, supposedly, they crunch the numbers in their head and they say, well, based on all these unsustainable systems of hack it down and burn it and sell it, we can't maintain the planet with this number of people, so let's kill a whole bunch of them. They've got the math right on that, but if their heart center was open, they'd understand that if we work together to take care of the planet, we could all thrive, even in the numbers we have now or more. Killing your way out of things is never the answer. You're just killing your way deeper into darkness. Whatever you do unto others, you've done unto God, and you've done it unto yourself ultimately. You just don't realize it yet. The heart knows a whole lot of things that when it's open can't be taken from you anymore. No one can take the truth from you anymore. No one can take your direct connection to the infinite divine source that lives through you in all things. When your heart center's closed, you can easily be convinced that you aren't connected to anything like that. No one's connected to each other. You're some isolated, mortal, dying accident in the butt end of space somewhere that exists for who knows what random reason. Therefore, everything's hopeless. You might as well try to get some for you, or you might as well just be apathetic and pass through and not have any goals or desires or anything anymore, because it's all pointless anyway. So, in this apathy, people go along with evil and help consume the planet and do nothing about it because they don't believe they can. If humans' heart centers were open, everyone would have an overflowing, abundant, nonstop wellspring of creative ideas that would be bearing fruit and bringing light into this world, establishing the kingdom of heaven and making it visible and tangible. Because it's all around us, but it's invisible to those who have lost their inner child and lost their heart center's openness. Salvation is to be walking in the presence and the oneness with God, to have that childlike innocence and hope and joy and life abundantly right now in the ever present now. Whether you currently have a physical body and you're on earth or you're somewhere else and you don't. That's salvation. That's what Yeshua taught. That's what he showed. That's what he brought. But it's incredibly hard for human beings to understand. Children would receive it easily because children, again, receive anything easily. Unfortunately, what they're given in this world is dysfunctional and they have no filters. Because again, their divine innocence and their openness of heart means they accept anything. It's true. And if you're lucky enough to ever figure out that all the things you picked up before you could question are all dysfunctional, you can start reverse engineering, deconstructing, unlearning all these things, and maybe get back to zero and make a restart to be born again. This is a divine thing and a beautiful thing. Men who think they know, men who think what I believe is right and others are wrong, they can't be helped. They can't be helped. They've already built their tomb and they already live in it. There's no light getting in there. There's no spirit of God. They've got their hardened heart and their ignorant mental pride about what they think they know. And it doesn't matter how unreasonable or ridiculous it is. Once men and women calcify into certain beliefs about themselves and others and what life is, me versus this, separation, superiority, inferiority, believing that whatever created us is like a human with an attitude problem, changing its mood, hurting these and helping those and playing favorites, all the insane things the humans believe and pass on, like a mental emotional disease, are because the heart center is not open and the inner child is shoved aside, locked in a prison, or altogether thrown away and dies. If you do pray for help, restoring, redeeming, resurrecting your inner child, to become like a child again, to inherit the kingdom of heaven. You may notice dreams, even lucid dreams, where you're actually rescuing a child. It might be yourself. It might not be yourself. It may be the same gender. It may not be, but these will all be symbols for parts of your inner child. And if you succeed in rescuing your child from drowning or whatever's going on in that dream scenario, you'll know that you're actually experiencing progress in restoring your inner child. And you'll feel it in your day-to-day life. Everything will change. You won't be the same person anymore. Even though you know all the same data in your mind or whatever you think you know, the way life looks and feels, what's important and what you're aware of completely changes. You can start giving thanks for the divine guidance you live by instead of asking for it and not knowing if it ever showed up, because you'll be living it, because it's real. Come like a child again. Has nothing to do with crawling back in your mother's womb like men think in their materialistic, conditioned, educated, proud mind. It's symbolic. It's for those of you with a deeper view, with eyes to see and ears to hear, to question, what does that mean? What is he really talking about? What does becoming like a child again actually mean? A child being open and innocent is always open to receiving things. A child doesn't reject or filter anything. So if your inner child and heart center know how to communicate with the divine, because it's the way they're made, You didn't need to have it conditioned or changed when you arrived, and neither does the next generation. It needed to be nurtured, protected, and made central. And then all the skills and practicalities of life can be added to it like tools in a tool belt. But you're not supposed to become the tools. You're supposed to use the tools to do what's in the creative inner center. To be made in the image of God is to be a creator. It's not because there's some two-armed, two-leg, fleshy thing floating around in space saying, I'm the king. That's ridiculous. There's an infinite creative force that holds all this physical matter in this dimension and infinite other layers of dimensions that are hard to perceive when you're in the physical and the densest, where our intelligence and awareness and vision is the lowest and the slowest. But even this is being held together with care and focus. When you look at a physical object and you think it's solid, it's not. It's moving, living particles that are being held together with the focus and intention of the infinite ultimate one that we're having this experience within. But you wouldn't know that when you're trapped here, this tiny isolation chamber that can have data put in or taken out or changed or altered. Here you do, in the center of you, radiating out from the center, the life-giving center like the sun in the center of a galaxy where the life comes from. There's a direct connection to the divine there that doesn't even require words to know what to do, to know who you are. Most of you don't remember it now, but you knew who you were. And you were very little before you were even taught a language to speak. You knew who you were. You knew what you were about. And those childlike fantasies and dreams you had that you were told were stupid and silly and you needed to grow out of, those were what you were here for. You would have learned all the practicalities along the way, the math, the science, the physical skills, the trade skills, the craftsmanship, or whatever you needed. The talents needed to create those things are just tools you add to your tool belt along the way. But once separated from heart, you become a tool yourself in someone else's system. And you live a life that's robotic and gray and cold and lifeless and unfulfilling, and it defiles every natural thing about what you really are. Friends, we have to become the solution for this. Instead of blaming someone else, we just need to stop living in a broken past and become a functional future. This is on us. And if you care enough, you'll become a light unto this world, and you will contribute to the healing of all things. But if you really want to do it to the greatest degree, you're going to have to rediscover your own inner child, locked away in some dark place where you haven't even been able to hear their screams or cries for a long time. Unless you do. Those that are more empathetic and experience more emotional pain in this world are a little closer to their heart center than those who don't. Those that are cold and dry, they distance themselves further from their heart a long time ago. It doesn't make you better or worse than anybody else. It's just a diagnostic. But you'll know if and when your heart center opens, because the richness, feelings that you forgot you'd ever had. You may even have feelings that make you fully believe and perceive that you remember feelings from a better place before you got to this world. Incredible feelings that you'll long for once you've tasted them again. And you won't want to lose them again. So even if an open heart feels the pains and the sadnesses of life, more poignantly, it also is the most powerful center in you, and it can process them. An affluent society, a futuristic golden age of humanity, would be led by the heart center in every one of us, which is a female energy because it's a receptive energy. It's receptive because that's the only way you can be guided by the great divine that created us all and lives through all things. If you choose with your own free will to be guided, the only way you can really do so is if you have enough of a heart center to perceive the guidance and to be reminded who you really are, the unique expression of the creator that you were when you got here. It was conditioned out of you. Pray for it. Meditate for it. It's the most important thing. When you taste it, you'll have something no one can see. It's richer than anything anyone can buy. It's worth more in an instant than entire domination of the planet by some military force or some society that takes over the world and controls everybody's thoughts and money and lives for thousands of years. We've seen this, and it's empty and depraved. The same people that sit at the top of those pedestals die badly, ugly, dark, and bitter, slip away into a dark place that matches who they are. Nothing has been achieved this way. Nothing. We've achieved a great loss and a great falling. By contrast, though, if humanity makes the shift to being heart-led instead of mind, the mind will work much better. It'll be the power tool it's meant to be instead of thinking it should lead. But what happens if we continue with this pattern? Well, if you just look at the pattern, you realize what will happen. Humanity will develop an AI and treat it like their own God. Because now they have one machine making all the decisions and doing all the leading, even though it's not even alive. And it has no heart. It has no connection to the divine. There's no authentic life within it. So you're literally having your life dictated by death, by something that's not alive. This is the state humanity's in. This is the plight of a species divorced from their heart center and trapped in their mind. They manifest various expressions of it until it costs everyone their lives, and technology is abused, humanity resets itself again, and all whatever we did learn is lost and we start over. Sometimes this has to happen. When a species goes this far off course, if they can't repent of it, if they can't change their path, if they can't open up and find what's missing, if they can't become like a child again, to establish the kingdom of heaven on earth, then they'll have to wipe themselves back to almost extinct, as has happened before, and try again. Too much goes into what it takes to make a flourishing, beautiful planet like this exist. To have us destroy it because we're shut down, we're living without a heart, without feelings, and without color, and we're just robot zombie machines that consume the whole planet, all the while making excuses or rationalizations based on the ignorant programming of our mind trap. The heart center is the answer. Pray for it, meditate for it, ask for it every day. Give thanks for it. Give thanks for any help opening your heart center. And if you really mean it, it'll occur, and the way your life will change, there's no words to describe it. Things will come to you beyond words, beyond time, beyond who you think you are right now. You'll remember things that you don't know if they're the past or the future, and it won't even matter. But like I say, the wellspring of creative solutions, not even solutions, but additions to make life more abundantly, when the heart center is open, it's on tap all the time. Humanity can multiply its quality of life to an uncalculatable level of utopian reality if humans were led by their heart center instead of trapped in their mind like machines. This is the truth. I love you all. Aim for it. Work on it. Let's do this together. You want to see miracles? You want to see the power of life to overcome death? You want to see the power to forgive any abuse and injustice and heal yourself and others from it, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in whatever way, like Yeshua could do? This is how it's done. A fully open heart center. So you're fully back aligned with the nature of the Creator. You're not living in the programming of this world that's infected your mind. Your mind is just something you observe and use like a tool bag instead of being stuck in it. The heart is where the life really is. It's where the truth is. Truth that no one can take from you, no matter how many external lies they tell you to believe in, bully you and push you and coerce you and deceive you with. A fully open, matured, alive, functional heart center allows you to be who you really are. And then life really is a miracle every day. Miracles manifest effortlessly because they are your true nature. They are our true nature. They are what we really are. We just don't remember until we do. I love y'all. Over and out for now.